Hi everyone, it's Paula here. Today we're going to create a bit of fun with some fun garden flowers, photos that I've taken, and the really cool wild berry mix-in pack that I've got going at the moment. So in this pack we've got glitter paper, we've got shimmer trim, we've got cardstock, and we've got lots of other little embellishments. So what I'm doing is I'm using one of our new wood grain pieces of paper, and I'm preparing the background using the gloss spray in white, which is one of the new colours we've now got. I added a bit of shimmer brush to it too with some of the bright pink and some black just to add a little bit of detail, and I'm leaving that to dry. So now I know that in these photos I've got the beautiful pinks coming through in my flowers, and I've also got a nice deep green. So I'm going to keep those two as my two main colours on the page. However, the pink is a very busy, bright colour to use too much of. So you'll see as I go through that I tone it down by keeping the neutral background with that wood grain and by bringing in some blacks and whites and things. So first off, I just get all the photos ready on their prepared photo mat. Always I like to have that little white photo mat to double mat it, so I've got the white and the green showing. Now I try a little bit of an experiment next, which is something that I've been wanting to do. I'm not sure that it's going to work on this page though, so I've saved my bits that I'm creating at the moment for another page. But what you'll see I'm doing is that I have actually cut our brand new adhesive sheets into a nice rectangle, and I'm sticking that to the back of our wild berry glitter paper. Now the reason I'm doing this is that I'm going to cut quite an intricate die, and once this is cut out it means that I don't have to fluff around with trying to get skinny bits of glue all over the background. The adhesive sheet is just going to peel off and transform my cut into a nice sticker. And this is a new product we've got now in our core catalogue. It's going to be a very handy one for those that do like to do quite a bit of die cutting. It is just a really nice easy way to get that die cut permanently onto your page without fluffing around too much. Be great for alphabets and things like that as well. So I got that little that die cut called it's called Circle Clusters, sorry, which is a promotion die cut, and I've cut that wild berry glitter paper into these beautiful circles. I also played with the stencils and our what are they called? Our markers. And this one's called metallic markers, and this one's called green citrine, and I did trace through and create a cool look on some black cardstock with that. I've also stamped some circles with our beautiful embroidered circles stamp set and cut out some florals and leaves from our really awesome layered flowers thin cut set. So I've got heaps to play around with. Now my background is all dry, I can start to do some playing and see what I like. Now this is all quite an experiment as I'm putting this together, so you'll see I'll add things and then I'll take them away, and I muck around for a little while as you do when you're creating a layout. So the first thing I did was I cut that circle cluster in half, thinking that I might be able to have a little bit of a spread of this coming out from behind my photo cluster. So as you'll see, as I spread it out, it does look quite neat. However, I think I probably needed a slightly different themed photo for this to work. The flowers lent themselves to needing a little bit of foliage, not so much the circles. However, it is a pretty cool idea, and I will keep those for another set of photos. Now I've got some zip strips here, which I'm just going to place on the diagonal and see how they look, just to break that bright pink from the flowers. I also cut in half that stenciled metallic markers that I had doodled. However, I do find that it's a little bit too busy, so I do get rid of that shortly. Now these tabs are great. These lovely tabs that you can get now with the thin cuts have all different shapes and sizes, and I'm going to use that just to sort of mark when these photos were taken for my date. So I've attached that to the top of my photo cluster. Now, as you can see, I'm trying my circles in a few other spots, but I do discard them in the end, even though the idea is quite neat. Now, I'm just going to do a little bit of dovetailing on these zip strips to add a little bit of interest, and I am going to have a little bit above, and I end up putting these zip strips also below, just to balance out my idea of the diagonal stripes. So that looks really cool, and it's just keeping those neutrals in the background behind the bright flowers. Now these lovely die cut leaf clusters, I really, really love these. In fact, this is one of the reasons I bought this thin cut set, was that for that little set of leaves, and I've cut them out in the New England Ivy. I've used the darker and the lighter side of that same cardstock. And I'm trying some of our circles that I have stamped with the embroidered circle stamp, as an imitation flower for a little while, and I've also cut some of the leaves out in vellum just to add a softer look. Now, as you can see, I'm putting the rest of those zip strips down the bottom just to keep that diagonal flow going, and then now I'm going to bring in the beautiful wild berry shimmer trim just to add a touch of colour to the top and the bottom of this layout to balance out the colour in the centre. I'm really enjoying this colour as an accent. It really works beautifully, and obviously with the colour of my flowers, these are actually our beautiful rhododendron that comes out in springtime, and in true life the colours are actually a little bit redder, but the photos at the time I took them in the day came out this more pink shade, which actually works beautifully with the wild berry. So I'm trying once again to add a little bit of a touch of those circles in, but I do discard that thought at the end. It is something that I do want to use on a page, so I will use those at a later date. However, I do bring in the embroidered borders stamp set. This has got some lovely fine borders, and I'm just going to use a cute arrow one. Stamped in black just to bring a touch of more black onto the page to keep that nice neutral framing going on. So you'll see I stamped them on the diagonal both at the bottom and at the top of the page around my other skinny clusters of stripes. So I do quite like how this gave quite a solid, almost a bit of a border to the front, to the top and the bottom. It worked really well just to finish off the look of the stripes. So that is, quite a few different products that I'm using here just to try them out. The embroidered circles and embroidered borders go beautifully together. In this case, I don't end up using any of the embroidered circles, as you will see, but they are a really nice combination. So what I'm finally doing here is just fluffing around with the flowers, seeing if there's a different look I want to achieve. I did cut out a few flowers in the wild berry cardstock, but I did find them just a little bit too harsh, a bit too deep a colour, too rich a colour for what I was trying to go for. So you'll see I do rectify that in the end with another idea. So to finish off here, I decided I would go around and do some of my journaling pen to edge the outer of the whole layout itself, as I had done with the photo boxes earlier on. So I do have to sort of pull everything apart to be able to do that. I do like the doodling. It does just frame a page, and it enables you not to have to double mat. So sometimes it's quite nice to do a really solid border with some cardstock around the outside, but with a doodle it's a lot softer. So now I'm starting to actually place the pieces on. I'm just going backwards with all the different shades that I've chosen to do. Really loving the effect it's coming through. And the background, it doesn't show up so well on the pictures, but having done that white gloss spray and the splatters, it just gives a really nice little touch of something interesting in those corners, which works beautifully. So I do a little bit more stamping, and that is to put on a title. Now this time, because it is spring, I have pulled out a stamp set that we had not so long ago. It was from the Daisy Meadows scrapbooking set, and I really love that title, Spring is in the Air, which works beautifully for what I'm trying to achieve here. So I finish off that title, and then I can stick the rest of the bits and pieces down. I hope some of you who are starting to play with your wild berry bundles. I'm offering this bundle for the next 2 months, for September and October, and it gives you the little bits and pieces to play with, like what I'm doing here today, to add as accents or to use the cardstock as mats, or to frame pages with that beautiful shade of wild berry. So now I'm sticking on those leaf clusters. I actually like to use our Close to My Heart dot glue for this because it's a very light glue. It's quite easy to reposition, and little bits of sticky don't stick out on the outside. They just stick to the actual piece that you are doing, which is really good. You don't have too much excess stick that you have to deal with afterwards. So I'm really liking that, but I still haven't got my flowers. So what I go and do is grab these beautiful wild berry flower sequins, and these big ones and small ones, and I've added them just around the little leaves for a touch of sparkle. I've also bought in the wild berry glitter gems just to finish off that nice little scattered look. I'm really pleased with how this turned out, and I'm loving the wild berry colour on this page. What do you guys think?